There she is, the brute force FB16. Today on In the Wood Yard, there's a load of wood in my trailer and we're going to make a dump, and then we got someone coming to get a load. Here we go. So the load that's in the trailer I put on yesterday at the end of the day because I had delivery right away this morning, and I wanted to not have to get up early and put it on. So there it is, it's in, and we're gonna go dump this. This is delivery to a guy who buys every year for me. He always gets two-face cores every year. This is probably the 7th, 8th time I've been there. And then I got a guy coming that I used to deliver to, and what I would do is I would dump all of the wood that he would buy. Usually he gets a full cord. I used to dump it by his barn, and then he would use his skid steer to load it into his dump trailer, or his, I think it's a dump trailer, and then he would park it next to where his entrance is, to where he goes in to take the wood into his house for burning, and he just leaves it in there. And so this year he called me and says, you know, I always load that wood and then I dump it, and then he picks it up, dumps it into his trailer. He says, what if I just come pick it up this year? I said, hey, that's a smart idea. So he's also going to save the delivery fee because he's coming from, I think, like it's about 20 miles, 25 miles away, something like that. So that'll be kind of nice. He's going to pick it up to be a full cord, so that's what's going to happen. And I got a few other things going on today, so let's get busy. I'm back from the delivery that we just did. This customer of mine showed me something that gave me an idea, something that I can talk about with you today. He had a table that he made for his son that was made of some live edge walnut that he had made, and then he epoxied and did a clear coat on it. It looked really, really cool. And from time to time I get people that will ask me, on the channel and just my customers, like, hey, do you ever sell logs, or do you sell chunks of wood that you can do other things with? And yes, I do. And that's why I'm standing right here, because I happen to have these hollow logs here. That is one of the things that I sell occasionally. I haven't sold a lot of them, just a few, but I've never advertised them, so there is a reason why I haven't sold very many. If you don't advertise, you're not going to sell much. But I have had customers of mine that have seen that I had these, or people that have been here and they've bought 2 or 3 of them and used them for fires, where they stack them and do the Swedish candle or the rocket stove kind of thing, the chimney fire, which is very cool, which I have done. So that's one thing that you can do with them. But my wife mentioned to me the other day, she says, hey, do you have a lot of those hollow logs left? I said, yes. Well, she did some decorating with logs probably 3 or 4 years ago, where she puts planters in these and does decorating. I'll put some of those on the screen so you guys can see some of the things she's done. And she told me that I should not burn them. She said women will pay big money for those, for decorating. And I don't know what big money means, but that's what she said. So we're thinking we might be able to get 20, 30, 40, 50 bucks a piece for some of the bigger ones. These here are all maple. This one right here is oak, and that one underneath is oak, but these are maple right in here. Now, I also have some over here that are the big oak ones. And the reason we were bringing this up is she was asking me, are you going to have to move those out to the farm? I said, well, maybe not. Maybe I can just stick them somewhere, and we can sell them this next spring. So these are all the oak ones I have here, are mostly oak, mostly red oak. and you can see there's a whole bunch of them. See, they're pretty big. And she wants some of these for herself, and then her sister wanted a couple. I've had a couple other customers that have wanted some, so I got a whole bunch of them. I don't know how many I have here. I might have 50, 60, 70, I don't know, a bunch. And I can always get more. That's something that nobody else really wants them for anything, but it's a decorating item that you can sell just like this. So that's one item. Now another thing is that I have cut birch branches, and I have sold some. I've had customers that wanted birch logs for their fireplace that they weren't going to burn, and they didn't want them split. They wanted, you know, rounds. So I've sold some of those that way too, where people wanted like a dozen, maybe a dozen and a half, 2 dozen logs that they stacked by their fireplace just for decorating. So it looks cool. And I've had some people that have bought small chunks of oak and cherry and quite a bit of birch for me, actually, in small chunks that they would then stand up and put a candle on or put something else on it. So there's a lot of decorating items you can do with wood. One of the things that I kind of made a mistake on a few years ago is I had a big cherry burl that I split, and one of the people on my channel made a comment saying, hey, do you know that burl you just split was probably worth $100 to $200? Well, I had no idea. So now I have been saving them, the cherry burls especially, because I get quite a few of those. Not quite a few, but in a year I might get a dozen, 2 dozen. So I have saved them, and I have sold some of those. So right here, some of my cherry burls that I have. I don't know if you can see the size of these. They're not super huge, but I try to leave so that there's plenty. And I know now from doing this, you want to leave a bunch more stem on it so they have a whole bunch of working area. So you're supposed to leave like a foot on either side of the burl. So a lot of these are just chunks that I have cut out. All different sizes of burls here. And I got just these left. I think there's a couple more back over there. But I've sold these for 20 bucks a piece. I had one guy that came and bought 6 of them. He gave me 120 bucks for 6 burls. And he said that's cheap. He said a lot of times he's found them for $30, $40, $50 depending on. I let him pick whichever ones he wanted. So there's all kinds of things you can do with wood besides just burn it. Obviously there's a lot of people that are big into woodworking that would love to be able to have some of this stuff for either turning or for doing live edge stuff or cutting slabs to do some cool things. So there they are, a whole bunch of chunks of hollow wood, and it seems like the unique ones are the ones that they really want. So something that's kind of weird looking, so kind of like me. And another thing that you can do is cookies. I have sold cookies like this quite a few times to people where they want to come and just buy a dozen of them. I had one girl that bought, oh, she must have bought 50 of them. She was using these for their decorations for their tables for her wedding. And they had stacked these up, and then they put candles and some other decorations on top of them. She wanted live edge, and this is a choice chunk of cherry, that is. Chunk of cherry, and so I've sold cookies just like that. Here's a chunk of ash. So stuff like this size right here, if it's nice and level and flat, even on both sides, this is a nice little decorating kind of piece. And I talked to a guy that had a wood yard, was the Firewood Heaven guy. I talked to him, and he said a lot of people will come and they'll buy chunks from him, and they just charge them a flat fee. I think he says like $5 or $10 for a chunk. You know, a piece like this, even that doesn't have the bark on it anymore, for decorating, just clean this up. You know, you could sand it a little bit or just brush it up really good. And so that's the kind of stuff that people will buy for decorating. Something else that happened yesterday, the other reason I'm bringing this up, I had a guy call me that got my name from someone who watches my channel, and he's a wood carver. And this guy wanted something that was cut just in the last month. He said something that's still green, that's not been dried or seasoned or cured. He wants it to have some moisture to it, he told me. And he was looking for apple wood. I said, well, I don't get much apple wood in. It's rare actually that I get anything with apple, because he said that's like some of the best carving, but he said it's very hard to carve. And I said, well, I think birch is pretty commonly used for a lot of times. And he said, that's exactly what I was going to ask you for, is do you have any birch? And I said, no, not right now. I said, I've got some, but it's all stuff that was cut, you know, 6 months ago, and it's been split and everything. I said, but I am going to be going to a place where I can get some. I'm going actually tonight. So tomorrow I might be able to get some for him. And he said he's looking for the crotches. He said if you get a piece that's about anywhere from 3 to 6 inches where a 2 or 3 inch branch comes out of it, they use those for making ladles. Apparently it's, you know, they use the handle, the branch that comes out from the ladle, and then they make the ladle part out of the bowl part of the ladle out of the main part of the trunk. He said if you can find some of that, that would be great. So he actually wants me to find him some chunks, and he said he'd pay me for them. So there's that. And then about a year ago or so, probably would have been like in the spring, so it would have been 2 springs ago, I had a guy that stopped here, saw that I had a bunch of wood, and he said, hey, do you have any ironwood? I said, yeah, actually I do. I had a couple logs there of ironwood. He said, well, he said, I want to buy some from you. I said, are you a carver? You want to make some stuff? He says, no, I grow mushrooms. And he said, ironwood is one of the best woods there is for growing mushrooms. So he bought 2 logs from me. So I think I charged him $10 a log or something like that. And he was tickled pink. I think he would have paid more. I said, $10 a piece. He said, it's fine. So he bought 2 logs. And he said he cuts them into, I think he said like 24-inch long logs. And then they soak them and do all the stuff, whatever it is for growing mushrooms. You know, what is it when they put the spore stuff on it? I don't know what it's called, shocking it. Something what I do, you guys will know, somebody will tell me. But anyway, he grows mushrooms. So there's lots of different things you can do with wood that isn't just firewood. So just kind of keep that in mind. So I got a guy coming in just a little bit that's going to be picking up a load of wood in his trailer. It's going to be a full cord, so that'd be kind of nice. And I got some other work I got to go do right now. So we'll be back just like that. Under here is my bundler, and I have all my bundles of kindling underneath here, and I am going to be loading the bundler up into my truck because I'm going to a guy who has a wood yard a little ways from here that wants me to do some bundling with him, and I'm going to take my bundler. So we're going to do a bunch of bundling, and that's going to happen either tomorrow or the next day's video. I'm not sure where I'm going to put it, but I'm going to go get my truck right now. We're going to load this into the back of my truck because I'm going there tonight, and we're going to do some bundling. So you're not going to see the bundling till, you know, the next day, 2 days from now, whenever. I'm going to get it loaded up right now while I've got some time before my next guy comes here to pick up wood. So that's going to go on a road trip. We're going to take the bundler to someone else's wood yard and do some bundling. There she is, the Brute Force FB16. That's the Firewood bundler, and it's going to go on a road trip. So I got her in, I got her tied across the front here. I got the motor, so it's just bumping into my tonneau cover there, and then I got a rope across there to hold that end down. Then I got a big X here crossing from D-ring to D-ring on the side with a ratchet strap. So she's roadworthy. I tried moving it forwards, backwards, it doesn't budge, so it's in there good. So next thing, we got a guy coming to get some wood. So that's where it was, and he just took off with the load, and he's going to back it up to his house, and he's going to take wood right out of it. So he said he's not hardly going to stack any of it, so that'll be kind of nice. He had a really nice Griffin trailer there. It was a 7x14, and he just got it not long ago. So we were talking about trailers, and it's a nice one. So That's it for today, folks. You know what to do. Poke some buttons. Tomorrow I'm going to be back in the woodyard doing work. Actually, we're going on a road trip tomorrow. We're going to go to visit somebody else's woodyard. You're going to want to be here. Might even do a couple videos while I'm there. So we're going to do some bundling and some other work. So we'll see you tomorrow, 5:30 a.m. Otherwise, go to my channel, watch some videos. It'll be good for you. Good night, Irene.